Hi, I'm Peter Lloyd. Welcome to the small shed. This week we're going to be out of the small shed, and that's coming up next. Now, for the last couple of weeks you've seen me building a love seat for a care home down in Bromsgrove, and this week I thought I'd just do a follow-up. The benches themselves were completed, but they needed a coat of stain. I'd had a quick look up at the care home itself and got a rough idea of the colour, and I went and got some stain and put that on down at Menning Sheds. And this is really a run through of the final finishing bits that were done to the bench and its ultimate appearance at the handover ceremony. Hope you enjoy it. Now, the benches had just given a coat of wood preservative when I first built them, just to seal the end grains and any places where I'd carved out pieces. And that was a clear preservative that's in the tin that you can see there. And then I wanted to get roughly a yellowy sort of colour to the benches, and I went down and bought some Ronseal. I think it was a light oak actually. Perhaps I should have got a pine colour, I'm not sure, but the light oak on the colour chart looked pretty good. And as with all of these things nowadays, it's a water-based stain, and I was a little bit worried at first. When it goes on, it's actually a pale brown colour, and I was beginning to wonder whether I'd got it totally wrong. As it happens, as it dries out, it takes on a more yellow colour, and it ended up as being pretty much the same as theirs. So I'm quite pleased with that. You can see there it's taken on a golden yellow colour, and the other bench was painted the same as was the table. And I popped down to the local cobbler's shop and had them make a couple of small plaques. They just engraved them for me, and those I was going to drill and screw them on the back, but again, in this day and age I decided that super glue was probably an easier alternative, and it would save me having to take a risk on drilling holes in the corner of the plaque and then possibly splitting the plastic, because it's a plastic material with a black core and coppery coloured front. So they were just put in super glue, a bit of accelerator on the back of the chair, and they were just popped into position, just to give it a final touch of ownership for Menning Sheds. And then it was time to get the things ready to go off to the care home. Well, it's been about 3 months, I think, probably, since I first went to Chandler Court and got involved in this project, and today is the day that I've got to let my babies go. They're going off now to a fete which will be held at the Chandler Court, and they're going to unveil the chairs during that and have an official sort of opening ceremony or whatever with them. So I'm just going to check that everything works. I'm not even sure which configuration they want them in, so I'm just going to go through all the 3 different combinations, make sure it all fits, and then we'll get them loaded into the car and off to their final home. First configuration is with the left hand chair facing away from you, and then it's, firstly I tried it out reversing it. The table has to be dismantled and altered to different setup. Fairly straightforward, they're just M8 bolts and stainless steel bolts with inserts. One of the biggest problems was that in some places you couldn't get a bolt in, so I had to come through from the other side, so it left a lot of different combinations of how the bolts go through, but in the end it's all worked out that any bench will go against any piece of table, and any part of the table will fit any direction, so that's worked out quite well. That left hand facing forwards option was tried out and worked okay, and it was just time to bolt the chairs, the tables back into a square, turn the other chair around, and that converts it back to a conventional bench should they in the future decide that they actually really didn't want what they thought they wanted, and it puts it back to being very much like a normal bench with a table between, and everything seemed to go together okay. So it was time just to pop it in the car and get off to Chandler Court. And then on the Saturday, unfortunately I wasn't able to be there, but the bench was handed over. Beryl was there in attendance and made use of all the spare men in sheds to get the bench seated and settled in properly. It's going out into the courtyard when it's complete, but I think they were pretty happy with it anyway, so that's another project finished.